What is good, my good people? My name is Martin. Welcome back to my channel, man. If you haven't subscribed, man, hit on that subscribe button, crash the notification bell, stay up to date with everything I got going on. It is highly appreciated. So today, man, I'm gonna be going off of the video I did yesterday talking about the $1,400 stimulus check that we're all getting per person, the $1.9 trillion that's going to be pumped into our economy. And I knew it was like, man, you know, I didn't go into much detail about certain businesses, so I just doing some research, and I promised you guys a reaction video once a week. So I was checking out some ideas, something that you know, people can start, you know, with that $1,400 that can make them more money. You can get a good return on your investment. And one of the no-brainers, you know, cheap business to start actually is flipping cars, you know, finding cars and doing a little bit of work to them. And so I started researching that, man. I came across this channel and I'm like, man, this is something I want to, you know, react to for sure, so I can add some value to people and just, you know, let you guys see different ways you can flip your money, flip your stimulus check, flip your taxes, and all that good stuff, man. But without further ado, let's get right into it. I will be stopping a little more through this, and I may skip over some stuff. And there also will be some ads in here. I don't got the premium membership with YouTube because I'm a YouTuber, so I'm like, I wanna watch YouTube videos, and I wanna you know what I mean, watch the ads of other creators. So, you know, I don't got that. So some ads, so I'll just skip through them, and I might skip through some stuff that's irrelevant to this channel, to this video. But I really just want you guys to get the information. I want you guys to get motivated, inspired, and most of all, I just want to add value to people. So this is very valuable. It's a very, very good concept. It's something that anybody can start, no matter, you know, who you are. So let's get right into it.
What is going on, everybody? It's Buddy here. Today I'm going to show you guys how I took this poorly running, no AC having $500 truck and turned it into thousands of dollars in profit. Now, if you watched my channel before, I'm mostly a DIY channel, but I am going to start a segment on flipping cars. The process I do it, I've done it many times in the past. This is actually the first vehicle I fully documented here on video. So if you want to learn how to get potentially profitable vehicles at low prices, how to fix them up and flip them and make a bunch of money on the back end, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything. I'm going to show you guys the entire process of how I bought it, what I thought.
And also, I will have a description to this channel we'll have a link to this channel in the description. So make sure you guys click that, show some love, and look at the other videos. They got the offer as well.
What I should buy it for, what I knew I could sell it for, and ultimately how much money I put into it and how much money I made. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. So my favorite place to look for cars to flip is Facebook Marketplace. I'm always on it, checking for deals, seeing what's out there. So I stumbled upon this little Chevy Blazer. These are actual pictures of it here. The exterior looked good. There was no faded paint for an older truck. The interior looked good. There was no cracks, there was no rips, there was no tears in the seats or anything like that. Now I noticed the price was set at about $1,400. The truck had 140,000 miles on it, which is pretty low for a truck of this year. And I know these Chevy Blazers will sell quick. They're a popular truck. At the right price, they're gonna fly off the shelf. So upon reading the description of the vehicle, it says AC does not work. Don't know what's wrong with it. It stated there is.
So you guys see what he's doing. So when you guys looking for these vehicles, no matter where, always read the description, always ask questions from the owner. Sometimes they won't disclose a lot of different things, but always do your research and always, you know, read the descriptions, because, you know, you might think you're getting a good deal and there you go look at it and they say, oh, it doesn't run or the engine doesn't work or something like that. So always read the descriptions when looking for vehicles.
Is minor rust on the undercarriage. It also says the truck does not run smooth at idle. Vehicle will shut off at red lights but starts right back up. Runs great otherwise. Now the one thing I really did like in the description, it said bought from original owner 3 months ago. All service records were kept from mile 3000 in the service manual. Now considering the original owner bought this truck 20 years ago, has the original owner's manual and documented every single bit of service in there, I knew he was an older gentleman. I knew he was an old school guy who was probably very meticulous with this truck. Now what you guys are looking at here is the actual service manual of the truck. This guy really did document every single little thing from the first service at 3,000 miles. Now I speak from experience when I say that is not a big selling point, that is a huge selling point. People absolutely love that. This is already a really popular vehicle. I know for a fact this thing fixed up will sell quick, so I knew I had to get this truck. So I went on Kelley Blue Book, and honestly, I don't use Kelley Blue Book to buy vehicles, but 90% of people do. If you're looking to sell it, this is what most people are going to default to. So you want to make sure that you know that this is kind of what everyone's looking at when they're looking to buy a car. Now the number I'm looking at right here is at $3,119. That is the upper end of the Kelley Blue Book value. If this thing is running smooth, the AC works great, and someone sees that the whole life of the car has been documented in the back of the owner's manual where the service records are, I know I'm going to be able to get that upper end for sure. So I immediately set out to go see this truck here.
Small businesses still wasting valuable time writing and sending checks to vendors each month? Then listen up. Melio
here in person. I did know that $1,400 was going to be a little steep for this truck just because I knew it definitely needed some things. I know new parts for these old Chevys are dirt cheap, so I knew I didn't have to put that much money into it, even if there was a couple more things wrong that wasn't specified on the description. And that's also a very important note to keep in mind when you are looking for a vehicle to flip. You want to make sure you don't shoot for those BMWs, those Audis. Of course, if you find a killer deal, don't let it up. But at the same time, keep in mind the parts for those cars are a lot more expensive than something like this Blazer. Now with this truck, knowing that the AC was bad and it was running real rough, I didn't know what I was going to get into fixing it. Maybe it just needed some Freon to make the air cold again, and something silly like an O2 sensor making it run really rough on the idle. Or it could need multiple components here on an AC system, or it could have all kinds of different things wrong with it, causing vacuum leaks, bad sensors, or whatever the case. So $500 is definitely where I wanted to be to make sure I made a profit. Now upon arriving, honestly, I was very impressed with the vehicle's condition on the inside and outside. There's no cracks, no rips, there's no dents, there's no scratches, there's no rust on the body. Everything looked really good. I'm gonna play you guys a quick video of what the engine sounded like at idle. It was a very rough idle. This is actually after I took it home. So this is actually the engine of the exact same truck we're talking about. Yeah, it sounded pretty.
Also, guys, like with this particular person, apparently, obviously, he has some type of experience with vehicles. So I will recommend, if you guys are looking to flip vehicles, if you have no knowledge of, you know, the mechanical side of the cars, make sure you get with somebody, pay somebody like $20, $25 a mechanic to come out and take a, you know, test drive with you, take a look at it with you, because, you know, you don't want to get no lemons because you're trying to flip. You don't want to get something that takes more money to fix than what you're going to get out of it. So definitely, if you don't have any knowledge, get somebody to go with you. If you can't do that, try to YouTube or do some research on the vehicle, or just try to learn some basic things about, you know, how it's supposed to operate.
Pretty rough to say the least. So the very first thing I did when I got to the seller's house was hook up my OBD2 reader to the truck. I always bring one of these with me anytime I go to buy a car. It's definitely something important that everybody should have in their toolbox. I'm going to put a link in the description for 3 of them I recommend. One's going to be at a lower price point, maybe 25 to 30 bucks. One's going to be kind of a mid-grade, around 60 to 70. And then one's going to be a little bit higher tier, around 100 to 150. So when I hooked up my OBD reader to the truck, I got a code back, P0171, System 2 Lean Bank 1. So what that means is either the engine's getting too little fuel or is getting too much air. Too much air is caused from a vacuum leak, or not enough fuel's getting into your engine. Either your fuel filter's clogged, you got a clog in one of your lines, maybe one of your fuel injectors are clogged up, or your fuel pump's starting to go out. Or if you get real lucky, it's something as simple as just a mass airflow sensor needs to be cleaned, or you got a bad O2 sensor. Now another thing I wanted to check before I made a seller an offer on the vehicle was the AC compressor. Now I knew the AC was blowing warm air, but I wanted to see if that was because the AC compressor wasn't working or if it just had a Freon leak. Now what I did is I brought a staple with me. Now I always bring a staple with me to any kind of car deal that I want to do that a vehicle has no AC in. With a staple, all you got to do is find the low side of the AC system, find the little sensor, and then just stick the staple inside of the sensor that goes into the low side. So now you can see the compressor is spinning, so our little staple trick worked. Now I also checked the radiator cap. I didn't see any brown gunk like this. And I also checked the oil cap and took a peek in the crankcase. I didn't see any kind of sludge like this, and that would be indicative of a blown head gasket, and that's not something I want to deal with in this vehicle. So now at least I know the compressor works. There's a Freon leak, of course, and there's also a vacuum leak or a fuel issue. So now at this point, it's time to make the seller my $500 offer. I'm happy with the vehicle. I think I can make a little money on it. So this is the fun part. This is when you get to finally make an offer. You get to do a little negotiating. This is the exciting part for me. So you can write this part down. I pretty much say this word for word every vehicle I buy. So let's just say the seller's name was Bob in this case. I'll say, hey Bob, so obviously the vehicle does need some work. I'm going to have to put a little money into it. It's actually a little worse than I thought. So I'll be right up front with you. I don't want to waste either of our time, so I'll give you a straight offer. I think the vehicle is worth $500 considering the multiple issues it has, and that's what I'm willing to pay for it. So probably about 30% of the time, they're just going to say, fine, take it away. I've been looking at it too long. Because you got to remember, these vehicles don't run right. So they've probably been sitting around for a while, probably gave them a headache. They probably tried changing some fuses. They probably looked at a couple of YouTube videos to see if there's a quick fix.
And like what he's saying, guys, listen, anytime you buying something from person to person, like cars or just anything, somebody selling, never pay full price. I mean, now you're gonna have some people play hardball, and some things are worth paying full price, right? So you might come across something like gold or something that's worth it, but like vehicles and stuff is you just don't know what can happen. I never pay full prices for trucks. He's going down a lot. This person went, I think, like $1,400 for it, so he went down to $500. So we'll see, man, if he get that offer accepted. But this is really good, and I love what he said. Always be straightforward. Be real with the person you're negotiating with. Let them know, hey, this is all I got. For me, it seems to work out a lot, man. And we know with buying dumpsters and stuff, if they don't got a set price, I'll be like, hey, I got this right now. That's all I can do, man. It's $1,000. I got $700 for you. And usually, most of the time, that usually works only on people who desperate to sell. Who've been who had this listing on for like months and who's just desperate.
They already called their uncle in another state who used to work on cars. Point being, they're sick of looking at these cars. They want them gone. So they're going to take that $500, $600, $700. They're going to take that $1,000. They're going to take that low ball offer. Now, if they start saying, oh, well, what about $1,000? What about $1,500? The last thing I'm going to say is this, and I almost say this word for word. Now, I understand what you're saying, Bob, and I know it's not what you wanted to hear, but to be honest, anyone who's going to buy this car is obviously going to be mechanically inclined, and it's ultimately going to take a risk in buying this car. We don't 1,000% know what's all wrong with it. All we know that it needs work, and obviously new parts, which cost money, of course. The last thing I want to do is rip you off, but even more so, I wouldn't want to buy a car and dump so much money into it that I end up spending more than what it's worth. My offer stands firm at $500. I have the money in the car right now. You'll never have to look at this thing again. All you got to do is say yes. Now at that point, once you made sure that they know that you are firm at your offer, and on top of that, you're not trying to rip them off, you just let them know where you're coming from in terms of the price, you should be able to strike a deal. And for whatever reason, if they're one of the sellers that will not budge on the car, for whatever reason, you got to learn to just walk away. There's way too many people out there that are willing to give you their business. Get rid of that old car sitting in their driveway and be done with it. Now, in this case, I was able to convince the guy $500 is a good number for this car. So I took the keys and I drove the car home. So now that we got the truck back at the house, it's time to start fixing it up. So remember.
Wow, and that's how it's done, man. It works. For me, majority of the time, but definitely, guys, always negotiate. Don't be insulting to people, but when you're getting something like this, especially on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, and it's some minor issues that you're going to fix. You don't know what else can happen, so never pay full price for these. He did a really good job. Really like how he came across with that. That was a really good and smart move, good business move.
We have a rough idle caused by either too little fuel or too much air. And on top of that, we have an AC leak. So what I'm going to do is see if I can get the truck running smooth again before I even start messing with the AC. So remember, these are all the potential things that could be giving it a rough idle. The first thing I was going to start with is the fuel filter. I checked out under the car, the fuel filter looked a little old. Even if the fuel filter wasn't the culprit of the rough idle, I decided to do it anyways just because I had one laying around. And it looks like it was about time for a new one anyways. So I got under the truck, I found the fuel filter, I pulled out the old one, and I replaced it with the new one. Now all these videos I'm going to show you are actual videos of me working on this exact Chevy Blazer. So if you want to check out this video on how to change your fuel filter in a Chevy, and honestly it's similar for most vehicles, not just Chevys. Once you watch the video, get a main idea of how to do it. I'll go ahead and throw a link in the description for all the videos I made working on this vehicle. So now we got...
And I'm going to skip through a couple of these. He's basically going to be fixing everything up, and I don't want you guys to... because I want you guys, the video, link to the video, to the actual video will be in the description, so you guys can definitely go check that out. But, I just want you guys to get the meat and potatoes of the whole thing.
Appreciate it, and also lets me know you guys like these car flipping tutorial videos. The next thing I'm going to try is the mass airflow sensor cleaner. You don't want to use carb cleaner, WD-40, nothing like that. Mass air. Suspicious of a vacuum leak as opposed to You can see there right when I plugged up the vacuum hose for the brake booster, it idled perfectly. So I knew that was the cause of the vacuum leak. I figured it out. All I needed to do was replace the brake booster. You can see here, this is a video of me actually replacing the brake booster. It's about an hour and a half job. It's not. I did test the compressor at the seller's house with our Freon pushing it in there. You let it run.
So I'm just skipping over this stuff. This stuff you can actually go check out. He has full videos of how to actually do this type of work. If you guys want to learn a new skill about how fixing cars, you can fix your own car, start your own mobile mechanic business, doing minor jobs like this, definitely go check that out. I really just want to see, the end part and I want you guys to see him getting the vehicle for a price, putting some work into it, and making a profit on it.
For about 20 minutes, and then what you do is get your flashlight and an evaporator for the job, like I said. Now, as you can see, I did make it cold. There was no leaks in the system.
Another ad. Boy, gotta get paid, man. I ain't mad. Get your bread, bro. I ain't mad at you.
The oil and the oil filter on the Blazer. I then sanded some parts down on the undercarriage and sprayed them with the rust inhibitor primer. Now you want to make sure if you do this, you don't spray with any cheap paint. You spray it with something that says stop rust on it, because then it has rust inhibitor chemicals in it. And then the last two things I did is restore the bumper and the door handles. But this really...
See, he's going above and beyond, man. And that's how he's going to be able to flip this from 500, put some sweat equity in, probably get a couple parts. And you see he's restoring it. So I'm excited to see what it's going to look like.
Really changed the look of the truck. It really dolled it up and made it look more presentable. So I will have links in the description on how to restore your bumper or your handles, any black trim on your car for that matter. So now we are done. Going back to our money invested chart, we're going to add everything up. The truck for 500, the fuel filter for 15, the brake booster for 110, the evaporator, the condenser, the Freon. Everything together came out to a whopping $797. So we got a truck worth about $3,100 and we only paid $797, less than $800 for it. We are on top of it on this one. Now the only thing left was to post some ads and find a buyer for this truck. Now you can see from this ad I made, I really hyped the truck up. You never want to put a short description of your vehicle. You want to make a nice long descriptive description about your vehicle, explaining all the good things about it. Everything works, runs.
Yes, and I love that. Listen, if you guys are entrepreneurs, any entrepreneurs watching this video, and your business has to have it needs you making ads for your particular thing you want to sell. Definitely give as much detail as possible. I believe in adding my price, like so with if you're doing a service like carpet cleaning business or junk removal or even dumpsters. I always add everything to the T detail. I get compliments on my ads all the time. I got people being like, hey, you had like the best ad. I didn't have to do research and dig in and call the person. You was straightforward with it. You told me everything that was needed, what I couldn't put in there, what I could, all that stuff like that. So definitely don't skip this part when you go to listing your truck or your car that you want to flip. Make this stuff well detailed. Tell them everything. Be transparent, especially if you want to make a top dollar. Like he's getting the top of what it's worth. So let's see, if he can flip that right.
Runs perfect, nothing wrong with the truck at all, truly diamond in the rough. Purchased from an elderly man who followed the owner's manual service guide to a T. Every oil change, coolant flush, brake flush, power steering flush, and everything in between has been meticulously done by this elderly gentleman, documented and recorded since the first 3,000 miles, new AC, condenser, and evaporator, and 140,000 pampered miles. So this step might seem a little silly and unnecessary, but trust me, it's definitely appropriate. You're going to get a whole lot more people messaging you about the vehicle, and on top of that, you're going to justify why you're asking for the upper end of the Kelley Blue Book value. After sitting on Craigslist and Facebook for about 8 days, I finally got someone who seemed fairly interested, so we scheduled the time for him to come see the truck. And then you can see here from the screenshot on my cell phone, that is all she wrote. He came and saw the truck, he loved it, he put a $500 deposit on it, wired me $2,000 the next day, and then brought another $500 cash with him when he came to pick it up. I could tell instantly he liked the truck, he was going to buy it no matter what price, so I held firm at my $3,000 and he shook my hand on the deal. So remember, all the money we had invested in this truck came out to a whopping $797. We'll round that up to $800. $3,000 as a sale price minus $800 comes out to a profit of $2,200. Now that's just one example of a car I flipped. I have a lot more cars coming up for you guys, so be sure to subscribe, check out my channel, and show me some love by hitting that thumbs up button. Thanks for...
Yo, so there you have it, man. He invested. He bought a vehicle for $500. He put in another almost $300, and he made a $2,200 profit. You know, just by adding an extra $200 on top of this sale. So this is something you guys definitely can do, man. And I just wanted to just add some meat. I might do another reaction video if you guys like this, and you know, let me know what you guys want me to react on. Just some side hustles where people can, you know, flip their $1,400 stimulus check. I want you guys to really, man, I'm just tired of I'm tired of seeing people struggle, man, for sure, because you don't got to. It's so many side hustles. There's so many ways to get money. We live in the greatest country in the world when it comes to businesses and, you know, all the tax, you know, leniency we have, man. Everybody should have at least one or two side hustles. So definitely, man, if this has brought you value, man, make sure you hit the like button, hit on that subscribe button. Make sure you follow my guys' channel. Like I said, link is going to be in the description. So I appreciate you guys for watching, man. Hope this bring you value, man. God bless y'all. Peace out. This is the only book of its kind. You cannot find any other book teaching the best route to starting a dumpster rental business. This book is filled with tools and experiences that will teach you how to not only start, but to grow however big or small you want. Get your copy today. Once again, you will not find this anywhere else or anybody else teaching you about this type of business. Get your copy now.